price go up. Then you throw back and you laugh because you don't pay Guyana off.
Kaieteur Radio, keeping you informed.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Burbies 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio.
Thank you for tuning in to Kaieteur Radio. I am Kevin Smith and welcome to your news at noon. These are the top stories we're tracking. House passes amended oil law to ensure lawful acquisition of private land for fiber optic cable and $900 million gas to energy project. Parliamentary motion calls for EPA's intervention in Exxon flaring in a Stabroek block. And Guyana gets $79.6 million for a seventh oil lift. Meanwhile, concerns abound as Trinidad recovers from worrying oil spill. Unbothered Guyana continues oil production with limited insurance coverage. Meanwhile, Guyana owed $1.1 billion for rice shipment to Panama, had requested IICA's intervention. Lowenfield withdraws court case filed over motion for dismissal. GEA takes fuel company to court over falsified invoice. And 3 charged for embezzling $29.8 million from GWI's bank account. Stay tuned to stay informed.
I'm in a rush. Digital got me in a rush. Driving style for the summer. Digital summer rush.
Nobody's doing it big like Digicel this summer. Top up with $1,000 or more and collect the letters to spell the word RUSH for a chance to win one of 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs. Yes, you heard it right. 3 brand new Toyota Rush SUVs.
Driving style for the summer. Hey, Digicel summer rush.
Start topping up now.
And now for the news in detail. The National Assembly yesterday passed the Petroleum Bill of 2021, which will ensure that private lands acquired for the laying of a fiber optic cable, as well as the establishment of the $900 million gas to energy project, are done so lawfully and that there is fair compensation for citizens. Leading the debate during the sitting was Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat. He noted that the amendment bill is intended to enhance Section 52 of the Principal Act to ensure the government has oversight in the acquisition of the lands to realize key projects in the oil sector. In addition, he said the act was amended to provide that a landowner or lawful occupier's consent might either be given unconditionally or subject to such conditions as are specified in the instrument of consent. Bharat said these additions allow for a degree of transparency and accountability not accommodated by the previous provisions. And in other news, Opposition Member of Parliament David Patterson has submitted a motion to the House pertaining to ExxonMobil's flaring at the offshore Stabroek block. According to an overview of the motion, ESSO was on June 1, 2017, granted an environmental permit to undertake Phase 1 of the Liza development project, which included the use of an oil vessel to process, store and offload the recovered oil during production operations within the Stabroek block. Additionally, the motion points out to Clause 13.1 in the Liza 1 and Liza 2 permits, which mandate that the Environmental Protection Agency reserves the right to review and amend the conditions attached to this permit. The motion further requested that the Liza 1 and Liza 2 permits be immediately amended by the EPA to become consistent with the updated conditions in the Piara permit relative to flaring. And moving on, the government of Ghana disclosed yesterday that it received $79.6 million for the nation's 7th oil lift, which was purchased by Indian Oil Corporation Limited. In a statement to the media, the Ministry of Natural Resources reminded that on July 3rd, 1,047,820 barrels of oil were lifted from the Liza Destiny, with a value of $7 to $9.6 million US. This resulted in a grand total to date of 7,056,262 barrels, which earned Ghana $388.7 million US. That money is being held in the Natural Resource Fund account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. According to the manager of that account, the closing balance of the NRF account is $436,095,328 US. And now let's tell you, GECOM CEO Keith Lowenfield yesterday withdrew the application he filed in court to stop the Commission's efforts to dismiss him over concerns that he would not be afforded a fair hearing. The CEO's withdrawal comes after an amended motion to terminate his contract was placed for consideration before the High Court. The termination of the contract was preferred as part of the arguments in the case surrounding his removal from office following an amendment made to the motion for his dismissal, presented by 2 of 3 of the ruling PPPC appointed GECOM commissioners, Bibi Shadiq and Sais Garaj. You're listening to Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and of course 99.5 FM. This is your news at noon. We will return after the break.
This is GHK Lal inviting you to join me weekdays from Monday to Friday on the National Outlook for commentary on a range of issues. Immediately after the 12 noon and 7 p.m. newscasts on Kaieteur Radio at 99.1 FM and 99.5 FM. Looking forward to you sharing in the conversation.
Welcome back. Let us continue with the news. After admitting to an oil leak caused by a faulty line, Paria Fuel Trading Company Limited, which is a Trinidadian company, was on Sunday trying to contain an oil spill. In a release published by the Trinidad Guardian yesterday, the company indicated that the leak, along with a 12-inch crude pipeline on land, was identified as the source of the spill. It noted too that the requisite repair works were undertaken and the line was isolated at approximately 11 hours 35 on Sunday. The release stated too that assurance checks conducted by the company revealed that there are no additional leaks along the pipeline. As such, it noted that the spill is contained and residual cleanup is currently ongoing. Reporting on the disaster, the Trinidadian Express had revealed that an oil sheen along the Pointe d'Apoy harbor was discovered around 19 hours 30 on Saturday by the company's marine security. The company stated that its incident command team was activated and personnel were immediately dispatched to locate the source of the leak. The company stated, however, that a further sea survey early Sunday morning discovered areas of an oil sheen and oil streaks located north of the Pointe d'Apoy port. And moving on, 3 persons were yesterday hauled before a city magistrate for allegedly embezzling $29.8 million from GWI's bank account. The defendants Shaquille Adams, Shaquille Ahmed, and Anissa Williams appeared before Chief Magistrate Anne McLennan in the Georgetown Magistrates Courts. The charges were laid indictably, thus they were not required to plead. According to the reports, the fraud was discovered by the water company's finance department upon reconciling accounts for March 2021. The amounts are $17.4 million debited on March 16th and $12.3 million debited on March 24th. Upon querying, the bank informed GWI that the amounts represent payments made via wire transfer instructions payable to persons resident in the U.S. And now let's tell you, the Guyana Energy Agency has taken Atlantic Fuels Inc. or AFI to court for making a false declaration on an invoice. The matter was yesterday called in the Georgetown Magistrates Court before Principal Magistrate Sherdal Isaacs Marcus. Former CEO of GWI and the director of AFI, 72-year-old Dr. Richard Van West Charles, appeared before Principal Magistrate Isaacs Marcus with his lawyer, Sian Dujon. Van West Charles was charged for furnishing false or misleading information, knowing that the information is false or misleading in connection with the document submitted to the GEA. It is alleged that on November 13, 2020, the defendant submitted invoice number 100 to GEA regarding a shipment of diesel claimed to have been purchased from Global Oil NV, knowing same to be false or misleading. And moving on, to date, the Guyana Rice Development Board is yet to receive an outstanding payment of over $1 billion from the government of Panama to satisfy a debt incurred by Panama for a rice shipment. The Minister of Agriculture, Zulfikar Mustafa, has stated that he still remains committed to retrieving the sums owed and has requested the assistance of Foreign Affairs Minister Hugh Todd to spearhead talks. The minister had stated that he had spoken with the Panamanian Ministry of Agriculture, which acknowledged in a writing that there is an outstanding amount and made commitments to pay it. However, he said that the GRDB is still awaiting payments. The minister had noted last year that the current delay is recent. And moving on, a 26-year-old man from Region 3 and a 66-year-old man from Region 4 are the country's latest COVID-19 fatalities, taking the nation's death toll to 561. 12 new infections were recorded, taking the overall number of confirmed cases to 22,932. The new infections were recorded as 6 cases in Region 3, 4 in Region 4, and 2 in Region 6. 19 patients are in the COVID-19 ICU, 86 are in institutional isolation, 691 are in home isolation, and 6 persons are in institutional quarantine. To date, 21,637 persons have recovered from the disease. And just before we wrap things up, let's head over to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. The Europeans and then the Americans impoverished large parts of Africa. They did this only to the resource-rich parts of Africa, for they left the poor and barren countries to be on their own. Now, with oil discoveries here, the same Europeans and Americans are tumbling over one another to rush here and impoverish Guyana. They are a well-known oil curse. And now, they came to curse here as well. We are richer than many other countries on this planet, but we are dirt poor and will remain poor for all our riches. The Europeans and Americans will see to that, and then they will turn around and weigh us down with loans to keep us enslaved. And with that, we've come to the end of today's News at Noon. I'm Kevin Smith. Thank you for listening.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-82.